Hello, everybody. This is Shawn Marquis, and I'm at home. I'm going to talk a little bit about shoulder congruency today. Hopefully you're accessing this on our website. We just wanted to kind of offer some things maybe to keep you thinking about your body a little bit, and fine-tuning. You know, I'm all about fine-tuning and Pilates and kind of giving you some tips. So my tip today is about shoulder congruency, and I have a band. You don't have to have a band. You can even do this without a band, or you can grab a little scarf because you can use that to kind of do some rotator cuff things. So shoulder congruency is the shoulder joint itself. So the head of the humerus, which is the ball and socket, and the socket is the scapula. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea here. So here's the humerus here, and it kind of comes up into your scapula, which runs on the back of your body, and it's on an angle. And on that angle, everybody's got a different angle, everybody's got a different body. So you want to understand a little bit about yourself. If you've got a rounded back, we're trying to look for a little bit more of a length to reduce some of that roundedness. And if you're flat back like me, you actually want to find a little more roundedness so that your scapula and the head of the humerus are kind of set in their optimal position so that you can work your rotator cuff really, really well. So a couple of things you might want to start with is understanding, if you need that roundedness, like I do, kind of allowing your sternum to kind of sit down a little bit. And don't forget about your head and neck. Your head and neck should be kind of looking straight ahead. You have to keep that curve in your cervical spine as well, and that lumbar spine too. So thinking about the humerus, which is the top of that arm bone, sitting into that little glenoid fossa, and the fossa is very shallow. It's kind of an unstable place anyway. So when you're trying to find that connection back, it's really the head of the humerus pulling back rather than just pinching your shoulder blades back. So I was pinching right here, and there goes my rib cage forward, and then I have nowhere for my shoulder blades to sit or live. And then I've kind of pulled my shoulders back too far so that I've created more of this pinching and posterior movement rather than finding the joint itself, if that makes any sense. So with that, we're going to kind of have you think about even lifting if you're really rounded, kind of lifting up as much as you can and maintaining that head and neck position forward. And then just taking some breaths, connecting the ribs down and trying to feel that little baby shoulder positioning back. Once you've figured that out or you're playing around with it, here's a way you can kind of tap into a sensation. So you can grab your band, or you can grab a scarf. You don't want to necessarily move the band too much. You just want to feel like you're playing around with this joint in its socket, ribs connected, lengthening through that neck. I'm going to give myself a little more of that roundedness because I need that. And then just pull in the scarf or your band and fine tune this feeling of down and back with the shoulder. And then hold that and see what that feels like to you. Take some breaths. Let your shoulder blades drop down rather than pinch back. And see if that feeling or the warmth or the idea is that you're really trying to feel the back of that shoulder connect. Do a few breaths there. And see if that feels different to you in a good way. Your body will give you some information whether or not it's good or bad. The feeling of, oh, that feels different, I think that's okay. If it's painful, not okay. Just feeling that sense that, oh, it's connecting, I feel it a lot more. Right side may feel a little bit different than the left. And all I'm doing is just kind of opening the band a little bit, pull on your scarf. The scarf isn't going to move, but it's going to give you some feedback. And then relax out of it. So that's my tip for the day, just trying to fine tune that shoulder joint where it is for you, pulling the head of the humerus back just slightly rather than getting into more of this pinching and rib poking forward. So I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that information today, and we're going to try and share more. And look for Zoom classes in the future here. Thanks, and hope everybody's staying happy and healthy and safe.